Another game in the Surviving series has just been announced, and it's kind of gone a little bit under the radar. Why? Well, it's being published by the Paradox Arc division, which is basically their new publishing division, but they haven't really been screaming this off of the roofs anywhere, which I think is kind of interesting. Surviving Mars was one of those games that I definitely played a lot of. Surviving the Aftermath, not so much, but Surviving the Abyss seems very interesting for a variety of reasons. First of all, this looks to be a base builder. Base builders, there are tons of them out on the market, but in this particular case, it really adds an interesting spin to the concept. It is a horror base builder, which basically means that you build your base, you go through the motions, you go through the story, you do your thing, and then stuff starts to happen, or you fight against something that is out there, but you don't know what is out there. And the abyss, the bottom of the ocean, really ties into the thessallophobia that a lot of people seem to be having. What is out there? What is beyond the darkness? So let's go over the basics here. This particular game, as I mentioned, is on the bottom of the ocean. That basically means that there is not a lot of light. You need to bring your own light, so there's a very strong mechanic that involves bringing, well, photons to different places and having enough power to power your light setup, which is obviously really important because where there is light, the baddies cannot get you, but sometimes things can go wrong. It also plays in the 1970s, so expect a lot of this analog technology overview, basically the sort of UI that you would expect from, say, Alien Isolation or the Alien series in general, or maybe even that feeling that you would get from playing, say, The Thing or something along those lines. And this is a problem with a game like this. The real challenge with making a game like the Surviving the Abyss in this particular case is to get the ambiance right, to get the settings right, to make sure that you have this feeling of dread and paranoia of what can happen next. And that's something that other games have done really well. For instance, Frostpunk does something like this, but even though that kind of tells you what is going to happen in the very near future, which I also think is very fun. The real problem that I have, however, with the game is that they've essentially announced an early access, which will be sometime early next year. I believe it's the 17th of January. A game like this, which is very much a single-player component, personally, I don't think is going to work very well with a early access, especially if there is something horrifying in the depths. Because a game like this really has to lean on that first encounter, that first time you play it. You don't know what is out there. You don't know what's going to happen. And there is something going to really mess with your stuff over time, and you trying to work towards that objective and trying to get over that is really important for the gameplay experience. And I don't really think that early access is really a fitting model for that, because effectively with early access you're looking at a game that is already still in development. You're going to be encountering a product that is slowly but steadily being expanded upon over time, and you're going to be encountering the horror very quickly. And once you've seen it for the first time, especially with games like this, it kind of takes the fun away. Like you already know what's coming for you. You already know what is down there and that sort of thing. And I think that's early access in this particular case may not necessarily be the best way of dealing with. But in the end, of course, you know, that's what they want to do. I'm sure definitely going to go ahead and check this game out, Surviving the Abyss, and we're just going to have to take a look at what is going to be possible with this game. In addition to that, it has some very unique systems in terms of population growth. It's all about cloning, apparently. So if you want to increase your population, you need to find sources of biomatter down on the ocean floor and clone people from that. Spider crabs is apparently one of the things that have already been used as an example here. So very curious approach here. I'm really interested to see what they can do. Again, not convinced about the early access model unless the thing that can be sitting down in the abyss, the thing that you have to survive, can be multiple things and you never know what you're going to get. I think that's a far more important story, because if it's only one thing that's down there, it's not going to do very well, because you're going to play it once and that'll be it. and then the novelty is gone. So yeah, what do you think? Surviving the Abyss. Is this something for you? A 1970s inspired submarine underwater experience, a horror base builder, a very unique experience to say the least. And I'm looking forward to see what you have to say about this. Leave me a comment down below. I'm really curious about what you have to say. I'm definitely going to try it, as I mentioned, but we'll see how long it'll last. I have my doubts. Let's put it that way. Thank you so much for watching. And yeah, this has been an update on Paradox Arc. So in the next few days, we're going to be taking a look at some of the new stuff that is coming out with the 3.6 patch for Stellaris. Apparently, it's dropping relatively soon. So we'll see how that is going to go. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, take good care of yourselves. And as always, eat shutter.